And it doesn't help that Joe Hendry is basically what would happen if a Labrador wished to be a real boy and it was granted.
Yes!
It's a show by Chris and Neil with all the great movies. They are the real deal. We watch them all, so you don't have to. It's movies that don't suck and some that do.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners of all ages, welcome to the next episode of Movies That Don't Suck and Some Do. My name is Neil.
And I'm Chris.
And today with us, guys, we have a special guest. He is the host of Damn You Hollywood and the 411 Ground and Pound MMA podcast. You can find his coverage of professional wrestling and MMA all over 411 Mania. He is the all-American badass himself, Robert Winfree.
I didn't send you that last part, but
well, I went to your Facebook page. You had an American flag. You come up with a Superman shirt on. I mean,
you need to look closer at my Facebook profile picture. Then. That's an American flag. In front of it is not a political.
I know. I was going more Undertaker, because you know it's the best time of Undertaker's career when he was the American badass.
That's a hot take.
Yeah.
No, it's not. I know.
That's a hot take.
It's only because I was at WrestleMania 18 and saw him versus Ric Flair. But anyway, let's get into the movies.
Yeah, let's do it.
Stop with the wrestling talk because Chris will just fall asleep.
Oh God,
It's like when Chris tells me about different paint patterns. So he wants to paint his kitchen. He's like, "I'm going to."
What are you talking? I've never once painted my kitchen. I never once do that.
You're right. Your wife did. Yeah, anyway, exactly. Coming on today. First, the movie that we caught streaming in the world is a movie that we missed during while I was at the theater because I think we were busy with a bunch of other films at the time. I couldn't remember all of them, or I think I broke my leg or strained it at one point this year. Yeah, I've been all kind of, I don't know, past the age of 40 for some reason. I keep on breaking everything that I own. And I don't mean like personally, I mean like on my body. It's weird. But the movie is If, featuring the one, the only, the man that everybody's waiting for this July to go see his movie, Mr. Ryan Reynolds.
Oh, hello. I know, right? Whose balls did I have to fondle to get my very own movie? I can't tell you, but it does rhyme with Pulverine. And let me tell you, he's got a nice pair of smooth criminals down under. Anyway, I got places to be, a face to fix, and bad guys to kill.
Maximum effort.
Yeah, obviously from Deadpool.
Dude, of course. What else are you going to advertise right now for Ryan Reynolds? I mean, it's not like it's on popcorn boxes, gin bottles, meals that you can get at Bojangles.
Mint Mobile.
Huh?
Mint Mobile.
Like,
yeah, it's not like one of the major gaming companies just came out with a unique controller that is designed to look like Deadpool's ass.
I know, right? I saw that. Oh, that's amazing. Also in the movie If is Kaylee Fleming.
What's wrong? Hey! You shouldn't be doing that. Get away from there.
Calm down. We're just having fun.
It's dangerous. If you don't stop, I'm going to tell Rosita.
Shut up! You talk too much. No wonder your mom abandoned you.
What did you say?
You're such a baby. She must have gotten tired of all her whining.
Say it again.
As she pulls a knife out against his throat.
I dare you.
You're from Fear the Walking Dead or Walking Dead?
That is from The Walking Dead.
Okay.
Yeah, that was that's when she played the little girl that just got the hat from Carrell, and I can't remember because after like season 6, I think I kind of just disappeared.
I disappeared season 5, I think.
It turned into too much misery porn. I came back for Jeffrey Dean Morgan as Negan for a little bit because
there we go. Yeah,
who wouldn't? But
now we have him in The Boys, so why even go watch Walking Dead? I mean,
also, tune in next week for next week or the week after for an in-depth discussion of The Boys season 4 and all why Flanderization of your characters is a bad thing.
All right. Then also in this wonderful movie, If, is Chris's male crush, John Krasinkski.
It will text Jesse Plemons like, yeah, John Krasinski's going to be it.
I'm just saying that you can't be. I'm just saying that you can't be sure that it wasn't you.
That's ridiculous. Of course it wasn't me.
Marijuana is a memory loss drug, so maybe you just don't remember.
I would remember.
Well, how could you if it just erased your memory?
That's not how it works.
Now, how do you know how it works?
Knock it off. Okay, I'm interviewing you.
No, you said that I'd be conducting the interview when I walked in here. Now, exactly how much pot did you smoke?
Neil, how much pot did you smoke before the show?
Today?
Just like 10 minutes ago.
I don't know. I don't really count. I live in Oklahoma. It's like everywhere. It's like more than water here. In fact, I'd rather smoke the weed than drink the water here, to be honest. Also in this movie, Chris's other man crush, Mr. Steve Carrell.
I enjoy having breakfast in bed. I like waking up to the smell of bacon. Sue me. And since I don't have a butler, I have to do it myself. So most nights before I go to bed, I will lay 6 strips of bacon out on my George Foreman grill. Then I go to sleep. When I wake up, I plug in the grill. I go back to sleep again. Then I wake up to the smell of crackling bacon. It is delicious. It's good for me. It's a perfect way to start the day. Today, I got up, I stepped onto the grill, and I clamped down on my foot. That's it. I don't see what's so hard to believe about that.
That is great. Yeah, and Chris is if you don't know, Chris is overly obsessed with The Office. Like that's the only show he watches.
No, I don't. I watch other things, but yeah.
No, just the movies that we watch. Literally, it's The Office and that. I'm surprised.
Office clips. That was a choice.
Yeah.
And then the last guy we're going to say his name on this one because man, he's one of my favorite actors from the 80s and 90s. This is one of the last time his voice is ever going to be used because he passed away last year. One of my favorites, Lou Gossett Jr.
I don't believe what I'm seeing. Where you been all your lives? At an orgy? Listening to Mick Jagger music and bad mouthing your country, I'll bet. You better stop eyeballing me, boy. You're not worthy enough to look your superiors in the eye. Use your peripheral vision. Understand? Yes, sir. Now, every time I say understand, I want the whole group to say, yes, sir. Understand? Yes, sir. Understand? Yes, sir.
Yeah, from Officer and a Gentleman, right?
Officer and a Gentleman. I mean, it's his second best role right behind The Punisher with Dolph Lundgren and Iron Eagle, the ripoff of Top Gun.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it. I wouldn't call it a ripoff.
I know it's a completely different movie. That one of my favorite movies of Lou Gossett's entire filmography was Diggstown. Again,
there you go.
Diggstown with James Wood, Oliver Platt, Heather Graham. I think was in that too, wasn't she? Like, she was the girl or whatever.
Bruce Dern, who is one of the best professional shitbags you'll ever find.
Yes. Oh, such a great movie. If you guys haven't seen Diggstown, go out and watch it today. Seriously, you will enjoy it. It's just a fun little boxing movie. Then the second movie we got this way is the one that we're all here to talk about. Let's be honest. Everything else is going to be just like 5-minute conversation because the one we want to talk about is Longlegs, featuring Maika Monroe.
There's this guy that lives across the street. And he's always looking over here.
Looking over here how?
Every time I look over there, he's just standing in his window, and it's like he's staring right at me.
Which window is it?
Right there.
No, I can't see anything.
Because it's day.
He only looks in at night?
I can only see him at night. That doesn't mean that he's not. You know what? Forget it.
From Watcher, I think last year.
Yeah, Watcher from
I fucking forgot I watched it. I was pulling through. I'm like, oh, I've seen this fucking movie.
Dude, that happens to us. Like at this point, we're at episode 326.
Yeah,
so that means usually about 50 episodes per year. If you add that all together, so we've been doing this about 5 or 6 years. And there's so many times I have completely forgotten about movies I have watched. They've even been on my top 10 list. I forgot that
There's only so much space up there.
All right. That's awesome. Blair Underwood is in this as well.
Baby girl, there's a whole lot going on here you just don't understand.
So I see.
Nana, white folks in this country got the power. Now, sooner or later, we're going to lose this town. Now, why shouldn't one of us turn a profit in the process? Well, why can't you see? It's for us, Mana. For you and me. I'm sick of watching you day in and day out trying to teach them poor, raggedy kids how to read. I know you was with Jesse last night. I know how this looks. And I know you're confused about a whole lot of things right now, but you gotta trust me. Because I love you.
It's like Posse from 1993? Is that what Posse is from?
Yes, Posse is from 19. It was back where it's like a bunch of African American black guys took over a freaking whole town of white corrupted bankers. I used to have it on DVD. I don't know. Don't ask questions. I don't know.
Okay.
I had the weird DVD. Yeah. Anyway, then Alice Witt and Alicia Witt in her first role ever, which was one of the biggest roles in the history of that you could get as a little girl. Here she is in the original Dune.
I am a messenger from Muad'Dib. Poor Emperor. I'm afraid my brother won't be very pleased with you.
Kill this child. She's an abomination. Kill her.
Get out of my mind! Not until you tell them both who I really am.
Alia. Daughter of Duke Leto the Just and the Royal Lady Jessica.
Yeah, from June 1984 Dune, yeah.
That role about to be taken over by Anya Taylor-Joy for Dune 3 coming up soon.
Yeah, no, and the thing is, like, when I was a kid, I remember seeing Dune, and I tried to do that voice all the time. Like, my mom would ask me for food, and I'd be like, yeah, I would. And my mom would be like, you ain't watching that movie ever again. You know that, right? Like, that's it for you. And it's like, oh, yeah? Yeah, look what happened, Mom. You turned me into a fucking nerd. And last but not least, Chris didn't say we should mention this, but at this point, Chris, I don't know if you know this, but this movie is just as 5 Hours Today has made over $45 million and is one of the most viewed horror movies of the year. So I'm pretty sure the secret's out, guy. The one, the only, the great Nicolas Cage.
They're not real. You get that, right? None of it is real. The critics aren't real. The customers aren't real. Because this isn't real. You aren't real. Okay. Derek, why do you care about these people? They don't care about you. None of them. They don't even know you. Because you haven't shown them. Every day you'll wake up and there'll be less of you. You live your life for them and they don't even see you. You don't even see yourself. We don't get a lot of things to really care about.
From Pig, and I fucking love Pig. I love Pig. And that's
fair.
That's not the best horror movie in the entire world ever.
Pig's not a horror film. Yeah, I think we're off again.
Oh my God. Okay, everybody. We'll be back in. I'll be back in 1 second. Let everybody know where we're from. Well, since you're recording it anyway. So tell everybody where they can find us.
You can find us on movies.net. We're WTMnet.com. It's 32moviesnet.com. Find us there with a bunch of other really cool podcasts. We're on patreon.com/movies.suck. We're on the XMTS podcast. We're on Instagram, MTS podcast. Go to patreon.com. I'm sorry. Go find our conversation.suck and something new. You'll find shirts and shit with our stuff on it. And, Neil. And, oh, yeah, we're wherever you find podcasts. Wherever you find podcasts, you find movies don't suck and something they do. Robert, you want to go ahead and give your details? Sorry. Robert, do you want to get your deets on your stuff real quick? Just so people can follow you?
You can find me if you choose to follow me on Twitter. I promise I'm a fairly anodyne follow. I'm at Winfree MMA. My last name is a compound word. My complexion should cue you in that I am not related to Oprah. You can find me. I mentioned a little bit before, but I'll say it again. I cover WWE SmackDown every Friday over at 411mania.com if you like professional wrestling. I cover UFC events on Saturdays, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And man, is there a lot of the latter these days. If you follow MMA, it's just
true.
We're back in the warehouse. We're back in the warehouse this week, and oh boy. But I cover those on Saturdays. I occasionally will pinch hit on other programming, be that pay-per-views or weekly television, depending on the needs of 411mania.com. So you might find me elsewhere, depending on other people's availability and my availability. So you can find me over there if you're interested in some of my writing on that topic. I host Damn You Hollywood if you like movie reviews, and clearly you do because you're listening to this one. I've co-hosted that with Mark Radulich for 8-ish years at this point. Or, yeah, give or take. So we've been doing that one for a while. We're pretty much weekly, not this week, but pretty much weekly. We review a movie, we talk about the finances of filmmaking, the box office totals for the year, and then we laugh at critics who are terrible at their jobs because we needed a closing segment. If you've never seen it, our last segment, we go to Rotten Tomatoes, we look at what everyone's saying about the movie, and we find people who are so bad at their job they can and should be replaced with artificial intelligence.
Like Fat Guy the movies? How about that guy?
Yeah, I like Kevin Carr and several others. He's a regular whipping boy of ours.
Yeah. All right, Neil, who are we talking about today? Oh, go ahead.
About what, Chris?
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Robert. Go ahead.
No,
Chris,
one more podcast I host if you're interested in combat sports. I late Sunday evenings, I record the 411 Ground and Pound MMA podcast. So wherever you listen to podcasts, you should be able to find that. If you want to hear me talk about fights, make predictions, talk about news of combat sports related issues, go ahead and check me out over there.
Neil, who we talking today?
Yeah. Talking about what, Chris? You didn't give me any intro to that. You just said, what are we talking about?
And then, who are we talking about today? Who?
Why would we? Who? What do you mean? Why?
Fuck, I'm leaving.
Every week we promote us local business. If you're a local business, make sure to get a hold of us. Either email, match, chat. Chris is still on christiansingle.com, I think. Wherever you can find us, get a hold of us. We'll be more than happy to promote your local business right here. Today, I told these people I met last night because they literally saved us from starvation at midnight, called Reno's Argentina Cafe. Now, Reno's Argentina Cafe is located in the downtown section of Little Rock, Arkansas, 312 Main Street, North Little Rock. Now, here's the story. We were walking out of the arena after AEW 250, walking down the street. We see this sign. It says cafe, and we're like, maybe? We walk up to these doors. We walk in and see these two people behind it. And we're like, we want food. And they're like, there's nachos, there's tacos, there's, all these wonderful rib sandwich. And they're like, no, our kitchen closed 30 minutes ago. And we're like, fuck. They go, but our oven's still on. So this is the pizza that they made us to send like a handmade pizza, at least for us. But this place is cool, man. It's a long ass bar. It's like, if you notice, there's a hallway that goes all the way to the back there. Oh, where am I at? Oh, that's food. There's outside graffiti art. The drinks are really inexpensive. Smoking inside, which is always a plus to me because I smoke like a chimney. Dartboards, pool tables, all the above. And oops, I went too far. So therefore, if you have a chance, go to Reno's. You can look them up on Facebook.com, Reno's Cafe, / Reno's Cafe, or you can go to their website, which is renoscafe.com. Reno's Argentina Cafe has everything from cheese fries to green salads, Greek salad, Cobb salads. Like I said, the pizzas that they made. How do you pronounce it? Hero, gyro? How do you guys do it? Are you guys all
Hero?
Argument?
Hero.
It's a hero.
Hero?
Yeah, it's Hero. Yeah.
Chicken cordon bleu, whatever. Good people. They were nice enough to open up an oven and start one for us. Gave us a nice bucket of beer that we drank in like 10 minutes. Like, great guys, good people. Go to there if you're ever in the Little Rock area. Chris, let's talk If. Let's talk If.
Directed by John Krasinkski. You guys probably know from where the fuck from directing A Quiet Place Part 1, and of course he's Jim Halper in The Office. This stars Kaylee Fleming as B.
What's wrong?
Ryan Reynold as Cal.
Oh, hello.
John Krasinkski as Dad.
I'm just saying that you can't be sure that it wasn't you.
Steve Carrell as Blue.
I enjoy having breakfast in bed.
And Lou Gossett Jr. as Lewis.
I don't believe what I'm seeing.
Also, the stars also Phoebe Waller-Bridge as Blossom, Alan Kim as Benjamin, Zeb Bobby Moynihan as Jeremy, and a bunch of the people you cannot recognize. What is the storyline for If?
A young girl who goes through a difficult experience begins to see everyone's imaginary friends who have been left behind as their real-life friends have grown up.
So I don't know how to begin talking about this movie.
I do. I got it. Okay. I got it.
Go for it.
Me and my wife has this conversation because we watched it together, and there for no reason was mystery around the dumbest shit that didn't make no sense whatsoever. Like, they made stuff a mystery that they didn't really give you the answer to, and it didn't make no sense. And so there's little parts like that. This movie was cute. It was fun. Anytime Ryan Reynolds makes words come out of his mouth, it's a good time. I mean, the guy does mint cell commercials, and I'm happy to see them. It's like the only commercials I'm happy to see. but I think it was fun. I thought they tried. I don't know if it really succeeded as well as it could have, but it was just kind of like we're trying to be Pixar without being Pixar, I guess, would be the best way, right?
I guess, man. It was fine, but I would have never watched this if it didn't do for the show. Never.
I force him to do things like this.
Believe me, I'm in that same kind of relationship. I have you have nothing but my sympathies.
Robert, what did you think of this movie?
I'm kind of with you guys. It's okay. This was better when it was a 20-minute cartoon.
Yeah.
Yes.
For those of you unfamiliar with Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Way better.
That's a better iteration on this particular idea. I also, even watching the trailers and now having seen the movie, I can't help but feel that Ryan Reynolds was not the first choice for the character of Cal.
Who do you think was the first choice?
I'd bet a lot of money they really wanted Hugh Jackman.
Oh, that would be a great one. That would be fucking great.
Oh, because he'd have been perfect for the... I guess I don't want to give away the twist, but he'd have been good for the Ryan Reynolds character.
He gets to wear the kind of shoes that he likes to wear. Look, man, Hugh Jackman desperately... he was born in the wrong century, man. He would have been the biggest star of like 30s and like 40s, 50s era Hollywood when everything's a musical. And he can just sing and tap dance on screen to his heart's content. Instead, he's doing more steroids than Scott Steiner over the age of 40 trying to fit into the Wolverine costume again. And I can't help but feel bad for the man on some level.
Oh, my God. I know. I mean, by any means, it's like, yes, do I love him as Wolverine? Great. Awesome. But I have to agree with you on that. Like, what was the first, I saw the Broadway play, but I mean, off Broadway. It was in Chicago. Huh?
Greatest Showman.
No. Way before that. It was he was like in a white suit, and he was like, I think he's saying Copacabana during it. I have to look it up, but it was like he just got done playing Wolverine for the first time ever.
Right. I can't remember the name, but I know what you're talking about now.
Yeah. And he came out, and then all of a sudden he did like this disco Broadway play, and I happened to see it when they went to Chicago with it, and I was just like, I absolutely love that Wolverine's in front of me. I think he's saying Copacabana. I want to say that Copacabana was one of the songs.
That's his real love, though, man. That's the stuff he really
he's
loves.
like Copa. I want to say that's what I remember seeing, but again, this was years ago and far away, and like at least 5 concussions ago. So like, so it's like I have no idea.
But that he would have. I feel like he was the first choice. Like, look, you can play this slightly gruff, a little bit downtrodden, but fundamentally whimsical character. You get to sing, you get to dance around, you get to wear these snazzy, just slightly anachronistic outfits. And for whatever reason, they couldn't get the scheduling or whatnot to work. And I'm not saying Ryan Reynolds does a poor job. I think he's adequate. But Reynolds, he's got a problem being wholesome because there's just something about him that everything feels a little bit off color,
a little dirty, a little R-rated. Like ever since Van Wilder, you can't go back from that. You know what I'm saying?
And it makes a few, until you really kind of get into his take on this kind of a character, it makes a few of those interactions feel a little bit weird.
Yeah.
And he does a bit more of the motor mouth thing. It's not as much here, but in general, he likes to fill space with words.
He's very Ryan Reynolds-y. Like you can't escape like his sort of take on everything. It's kind of the same. Like we'll talk about Free Guy, stuff that was okay for children, and this one it's just Ryan Reynolds to me. It's not Cal. Like he never inhabits a character.
I feel like he called it in. Like I kind of feel like I'm feeling the vibe that Robert's giving here, where it says that it sounds like this was someone else's role, and it just kind of feels like he showed up on like a couple days before they said, "Here's the script," and he's like, "All right, so I read these lines, okay," and he just kind of put his little Ryan Reynolds on it, like, "Oh, whatever," and then just like walks off, like he did his little spin on it, but like. I totally feel it. I don't think maybe he was concentrating too much on Deadpool 2 or 3 at this time, or he was concentrating on something else. But I just don't feel like he was really into this character. I feel like he was just a call-in.
Yeah, so he's perfectly serviceable, but it's one of those brief things where I feel like that character winds up doing a lot of the heavy lifting for the emotion of this whole movie. And because he's not quite up there, he's kind of there. He's kind of here, which is fine. He's not here or even lower, but you really kind of needed that, and you didn't quite get it for whatever reason. And so that was a little bit of a knock on it.
This thing was pretty long for a movie that had all that it had. It's an hour and 45 minutes. They could have shaved off 15 minutes. There were things that didn't need to be there. Like most
or
of it.
some things that could have been explained. All right. Like the mystery of the mom and what happened. Why is that a mystery? Why is that a mystery?
Do we need
nowhere in that mystery
on the dead parent?
Yeah.
The parent's dead. That's all you need.
But like the first 30 minutes in, and this is me and my wife, we're dead sober, not even stoned or anything. We're just watching a movie while we're eating dinner and stuff like that. They don't even explain that the mom passed. They just the guy, and the thing is, the husband walks out the door and says goodbye, and then like they don't really explain that the mom died. Usually when the parent that walks out of the door in any movie or TV show, you can call bullshit if you want to, but usually the parent who walks out of the door and closes it behind them is the one that dies, not the one that they're all saying goodbye to.
Yeah, it was pretty clear to me that the mom died. I wasn't questioning.
Oh, no, we were just like, okay, but what did she die of? Did she like get cancer?
We don't need to know why she died, dude. We don't need to know why she died.
We just why not? Why would you want to know that? Like, why would you want to tell the children you're watching plot fucking movie? Like, just like fuck that. You don't need to know why this daughter's fucked up. You don't need to know. You don't need to know. Just because, like, if your mom gets shot in the face at the grocery store while buying you, Fruit Loops, it's a lot different than your mom dying of cancer. It's a whole different level of fuck up.
Well, I'm going to go with, based on context clues, we're not going with a violent death for a children's movie about imaginary friends.
Yeah,
that's true.
And so I don't think it was necessary we find out how she died. It was pretty obvious she died of some sort of illness. And, to me,
it was sad. I
honestly,
don't know. I cried.
Like, this thing was an hour and 45 minutes. I didn't need another 5 minutes of them saying what she died of. I didn't need that at all.
It didn't even need to be a minute. Could have been like, yeah, remember when mom died from choking on a ho-ho? Like.
Okay, well, that would be weird to me.
Chris, what do you rate this movie out of 5?
Oh, man, this is like a 3.4. I didn't hate it, but again, it's something remarkable to me. There are problems with it that, we barely touched on like the imaginary friends in this, which are fine. But again, I don't have much to say about If. It's a movie that was
the only imaginary friend that really mattered was like Blue. To be honest, the rest of them were kind of like in the distance, and you kind of saw them like for 5 seconds here and there. And the little, what was the little 1950s character one?
Blossom.
Blossom. Because here's the thing of all the characters up there. So yeah, like you saw her for a little bit, and then like. You saw Lewis for a little bit, and the mystery guy kind of got me a good laugh. The little, I guess based off of the question from DC Comics. I guess I don't know what he was.
Any number of pretty stock noir, hard-boiled private detectives.
Yeah, and I didn't hate it, but again, it's just. It's not moving like
it was not made for you, Chris. These guys were not made. Look at these. These guys were not made for you.
Yeah, this is a movie that this not.
Well, wait. I take that back. The unicorn is obviously made for you.
Okay, come on. But no, it's like basically saying this is not the reason I watch movies.
Dude, don't you literally have like a blanket of yourself naked on a unicorn?
Neil, what's your score on this?
I'm right with you, man. I think I'd say about 3.4. Like, it was cute, it was funny. It's not made for me. I'm a 40-year-old man that watches pro wrestling. So like literally it's not exactly up the alley of whatever. There was no character that grabbed me. And that's the one thing that any movie has to do to me. I have to have someone of a character that I'm all in on that character, or I totally hate that character, or I feel sorry for that. Something that gives me a raw emotion. That's what the part of cinema, plays, or any kind of theater, between pro wrestling to even sporting events, give you. If you don't grab to something, you're just not going to care about it. And that's what this movie did. It didn't have me grab me anything, so I didn't give two shits or hell about it.
So, Rob, I know that Mark doesn't do this thing. He fucked with this every time. Do you have a score on this one?
Sure. I'll play along. I have a score.
Okay.
You guys go out of 5.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So 2.5 would be dead average.
Okay.
Hang on. I just want to make sure I understand that's the logic here. Okay.
All right, Chris.
So 2.5 is dead average.
Tell him what 2.5 is.
2.5.
Hang on, that's not my rating for it. I just want to make sure that. want to make sure I understand like where we're going.
2.5 on movies that don't suck and some that do is called Something to Do, aka
Something
it
to
is
Do.
Something to Do. It is the STD rating on our podcast. So you're giving a movie an STD if you go any lower than that.
I would, because I'm a harsh critic, which I get flack for on occasion. Well, I ask what the average is because it's not always entirely clear. Like the scale I use for ranking professional wrestling cards is 1 through 10, but 6 is average. So 5 is not so good, 6 is average, and you get flack when you get flack when you rate professional wrestling stuff as average, because if it's not at least an 8 or a 9, they think you hate it. For wrestling fans, what are you going to do about them? For this one, though, so again, if 2.5 is dead average, I'm probably like 2.7, 2.8.
Okay.
It's not quite good, but it's a little bit better than average.
Yeah. There's at least a little bit something interesting in this to keep it from absolutely not to being just dead average. And I don't know what you call an average movie. Like that's a hard question to answer, but it's is okay. It's whatever. But I guarantee I just love this probably. Like you go to see this, you kind of know what to expect, And
could have got to 3 if I understood how the imaginary friends interacted with the physical world, because that was you got to make up your mind on that one, people. Can they affect the physical world or not? And if so, are they actually imaginary? And writing issue.
All right, man.
I agree with that one. That is a big writing issue and stuff like that.
On RottenTomatoes.com, what do you think the audience score on this one is?
Oh, I'm going to say the audience score, because you know what? Even I've been seeing people still going to this at the theater. Like it's like this, Inside Out too, like with their kids and stuff like that. So I'd probably say the audience gave it a score of 68%.
Fucking 88%. That's crazy to me.
Audiences are not the most
discerning. I quit. I'm done.
All right, now, what's the Big Bang critic score for If?
Dude, for If, the critic score, okay, 88% from the people that go watch it. Critic score, man, I don't know. I feel like they're going to be more on our side on this one. I think they're going to be around like 71%.
49%.
Damn, I should have gone lower. I knew I should have gone lower.
My guess would have been 55.
I should have gone. Yeah. Oh, I was just going lower than the audience score. Anyway,
Critics' consensus is a sweet ode to discovering one's inner child. If largely works as an old-fashioned family entertainment, it's about an occasionally unfocused, unnecessarily complicated plot. I'll read a good review and a bad review. This is from Paul McGuire Grimes, the Paul Strip the movies. He says, Krasinkski knows how to reach each member of the family differently, making for a good family movie night that sparks creativity and tugs at the heartstrings. Okay.
Not unfair. Not unfair.
Yeah. And this is this next one's from Billy and Melissa, a Men's Journal. Billy says, I'm sorry, I'll actually do this one. David Newstar, Real Film Review says, and then feeling,
we do this every week. I know some of these people by now.
The appealing premise is, for the most part, employed the underwhelming and uninvolving effect by Krasinkski. I'm really we're talking a lot about the director John Krasinkski, and he's made 2 movies, so it's kind of hard for me to think he has a style at all. And these don't really seem like. I don't know if it'll be one of those directors you can look at and say that's a John Krasinkski film. I don't know if he's gonna make those movies ever, but
it's very rare that a director comes in their first couple of movies and you immediately get a recognizable style.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're like Spielberg or Hitchcock or Tarantino, someone who's really immediately knows who they are and what they want to do. For most directors, it takes a few before you kind of get that figured out.
I wonder if he's going to start being a journeyman director where they ask him to do stuff and he'll just do it, which is, you can do that, I guess. But that's If you guys want to watch that, it's on Paramount Plus. If you guys want to do that, or you can rent it on Amazon. If you have kids, they'll like it. That's
ultimately, I think If wound up doing okay money wise because it had decent legs and there wasn't a lot of family film competition until Inside Out 2, kind of broke the door open for the entire summer blockbuster season. And now you've got Despicable Me 4, which is kind of taking everyone's lunch in that space. So
Inside Out 2 is still knocking out of the damn park. I swear, I can't believe it's almost at $2 billion now.
It was 1.4, I think, last time I looked. So
yeah, it's already at 1.8.
Oh, nice.
I just did. Right before we jumped on today, I went back through all the news.
That's insane.
The desperation worldwide for just good family entertainment is very big. A lot of the studios that made their money appealing to families over the last 8 years have driven a lot of them away with bad movies and bad messaging.
And the fact that now the world outside is becoming 105 degrees every day, and we're all about to die, means we need inside air conditioning.
I'm in the basement, so I'm wearing my hoodie. It's gonna get cold down here. Sorry guys, but
a meat blocker. All right, let's get ready for the news. This is The Movies Don't Suck and Something in the News. I'm about to read stuff to Chris because he's illiterate from all those years of type 2 diabetes from drinking 37 Diet Cokes a day.
What are you talking about? All right. I don't
know. I come up with something new every time. Why do you act like it's something new?
All right,
I've been doing it for 6 years, bro.
Okay. Lay it on us now. All
right. Let's get through all the sad shit right off the back. All right. We had a lot of celebrities pass away in the last 5 days. One, if you don't know, Benji Gregory. Benji Gregory played the kid off of Alf. He died at the age of 46. He's a new engineer. Alf is one of my favorite shows of all time. I have the Alf doll somewhere.
No, I mean, I absolutely mean that. Tragic. He and his dog both were found dead in his car.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I was trying to fill the details.
Because we're humans, it's the dog's death that gets us to react.
I know.
So was it heat exhaustion or what was it?
I don't know. I haven't looked to see if they've updated that.
Yeah, I just saw the little bit that him and his dog was passed away. Also known for her Mallrats fame. Yes, Shannon Doherty passed away at the age of 53 this week. She was going to be in Mallrats 2. She was already like Kevin Smith was trying to help her with like kind of a comeback thing by using her in some of the films, and she tragically passed away. So that sucks. Go watch Charmed. Charmed, Beverly Hills 90210, and Mallrats. To me, is still her best movie she ever did because I love Mallrats. But also this week, the greatest fitness guru in the history of the world ever.
Most prolific. I don't know about greatest.
Greatest. He helped my aunt drop so much weight with sweating the oldies in the 80s and the 90s. The great Richard Simmons passed away earlier this week. Our condolences for his family. Now, guys, you don't know about this because you haven't been on the internet since you've been on this podcast, but I just went to this website where I got all this information, and I hate to tell you.
Hang on. Well, let me see if I can guess, because I saw one earlier today that hurts.
Yeah.
One of the best comedic actors of all time.
TV sitcom actors of the legendary TV sitcom. The only one that had more shows named after his name than anybody in the history of television.
That's true. Yeah, Bob Newhart passed away.
Yeah,
finally.
Bob, did you say finally? You did?
No,
you fucking asshole!
I'm sorry.
Did you just literally say
No,
finally?
I was like,
Bob? Wait. Hey, Robert, can I talk to you for a second, man? Just man to man. I think you just took over my podcast. Chris is no longer allowed on here anymore. Like, seriously, dude. Why do you want to get us canceled? All the time you try this shit to get us canceled. Tell everybody how much you hate Taylor Swift, too.
Who's been around for a while. I knew
Like, you live in Kansas City and you tell people you hate Taylor Swift. You can't come on here and say
I've never said
he's one of the greatest comedic actors of all time.
I've never said I hate Taylor
I'm glad he's finally dead. I don't even want to do the rest of the news segment now, bro. That kind of just like, that was a stab.
I mean, hang on. In fairness, and I do mean this in all sincerity, in fairness, if you thought Bob Newhart had already passed, that would be understandable.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Oh man. But anyway, to all the families, condolences. Some of history's great actors, at least to people our age, or not. If you are a Gen Z or whatever, and you've not ever seen Bob Newhart except for that little spigot he did on Big Bang Theory, literally go back, go watch some of his sitcoms. They were funny. I'm sure some of them are probably not.
Some of his stand-ups pretty good too, man. Some of
his stand-up was pretty good too. And I remember him doing the Jerry Lee Lewis Jerry Lewis marathon. Was Jerry Lee Lewis? Jerry Lee Lewis is the singer. Jerry Lewis was Lewis and Martin. Okay. So the Jerry Lewis marathon growing up, I remember him doing that.
Oh man, telethons. Don't know if that I missed those, but they are definitely an artifact of the past.
Oh man, come on, we all loved them. Let's be honest.
They kept PBS on the air before the government stepped in.
Glenn Powell has given an update for all of us to know that filming for Running Man will be starting because they're aiming for 2025 release. So that means we are getting a remake of the Richard Bachman book, aka Stephen King, Running Man, featuring the guy who's been in every other movie this year, Glenn Powell.
I've turned a corner on Glenn Powell after seeing Hitman, and then I watched Everywhere at Once. I'm like, okay, I like this Glenn Powell, but so I'm looking forward to
his entire career in the big screen at this point. Is just, what movies did I watch on HBO when I was 8, and can I remake them now?
I love it. Yes, I'm down for that one. That is completely.
We're reviewing Twisters next week, and he's in that.
Yeah,
I'm going tomorrow or on Sunday. I'm going to an actual 4D theater to go see Twisters, where the seats all move and the air blows and stuff like that. So that will make it cool. But I don't think without that experience, I mean, another movie about tornadoes. If I want to watch a movie about tornadoes, I'll wait for tomorrow night when the weather changes and step outside. I live in Oklahoma.
You guys live in an area, you could, take a trip up to Chicago and see all the devastation from that series of events a couple of days ago.
Oh gosh, yes. Actually, my family lives in that area, so it's like, I don't know. I think it's all Chris's fault.
It is.
If we could blame the problems of the city of Chicago on just one person, I think we would, but we all know it's worse than that.
No. It's only one person, and it was Candyman. So today, yesterday actually, marks the last, the final part of Crisis of Infinity Earths Part 3 coming out, which was the last performance we will ever see of Kevin Conroy's animated Batman and Mark Hamill's Joker. This was the final send-off. Kevin Conroy died a year and a half ago. This is the last thing that he recorded. A send-off to one of the greatest Batman of all time. In fact, the only good Batman, I think, of all time. Chris, what do you think?
Yeah, I know that you love Kevin Conroy. You tell that story every time we talk about him. That time you met him, but I'm sorry.
I'm sorry that you don't like good stuff.
I don't dislike Kevin. Okay. But
talking about people not liking good stuff, Tyler Perry's new movie has now nabbed one of the only movies in the world out of 3 to get on Rotten Tomatoes the 0% from critics and audiences.
Wow.
Both. You gotta do some work to get both of those.
So I guess I didn't know that people hate it. I've never watched. I don't watch. It's not me for me. So it's like,
did he just give up? I think he had 1 or 2 good. Well, okay, acting wise, I think the only movie I saw him in that I liked him was when he played Alex Ross the Morgan Freeman
Cross.
character from Kiss the
That was
Girls.
Cross.
Yeah, Cross. Cross. When he played that, I think that's the only role I've ever seen him in where I was like, yeah. But I've never liked any of the what is her name? The big
Medea.
mama lady that
Medea.
I've tried watching those over the years, and I'm just like, should he try a new line of work, or what do you guys think at this point?
I don't know.
Being friends with Oprah has benefits is the only thing I can say about that.
Yeah, but Oprah's a big fan of that Tyler Perry.
Oh yeah, talking about sequels, by the way, guys. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm done talking about Tyler Perry.
Talking about sequels, we're still getting that Young Guns 3 movie coming out in the next 2 years.
I swear, if they actually title it Young Guns 3 at this point, they should be sued for false advertising.
It should be Young Guns 3. We're old as fuck now.
This is almost the retirement home guns. Like,
no. It's like they're getting out their 6-shooters while they're putting their dentures in, and they're making like eating their pudding, and like Lou Diamond Phillips.
The whole plot is them telling other people to get off their lawn. Like that's where we are with these people.
Lou Diamond Phillips reveals that the script is ready, and Emilio Estevez is scouting locations. The actors also revealed that some characters, presumably dead, could come back to life. And as of right now, development of Young Guns 3, it is officially greenlit.
Okay. Well,
I just don't even.
I'm sure Netflix will be pleased with their new streaming service.
Yeah, right. Kevin Smith, I guess, is making part of Jay and Silent Bob 3 going to be a parody of the Evil Dead series. So
Kevin Smith is going to release a new movie that about the same time George R.R. Martin finishes the next Game of Thrones book.
So never. So what it says in here is, behold the Necrokev. It's the Book of Dead film careers. It's actually called the Necrobobakin, and I commissioned it to unearth the ancient evil tomb that features the new Jay and Silent Bob flick, and I start shooting it later this year.
all right, man. Well, I mean, let's do it, I guess. I mean, I'll watch it.
All right. Well,
if you
guys,
do you have the dead horse long enough, it becomes funny again, right? That's the like subheading of Kevin Smith's career.
Well, pretty much what happened was like he almost died like 3 times, and so now he's like, man, I don't want to do things for big corporations. I just want to do my dumb little, stoner movies and leave me the fuck alone.
Hey, and I guess, look, all right, man, cool. I'm not gonna fault him for that. I'm gonna fault him for the quality of his films.
There we go. Hey, don't bring up Tusk. Anyway, talking about, hey guys, do you have a couple $1 million you'd like to spend?
I wish I did. What's up?
Okay, because up on auction on July 25th and 26th of this month, you can buy Princess Leia's metal bikini from Return of the Jedi, and Boba Fett's helmet, and the Mandalorian's helmet at an epic auction over at Golden Auctions, known for King of Collectibles off of Netflix.
I'm good, man. I don't need.
You sure stuff. You don't, man? I definitely want to buy that. I was thinking
no one needs any of those things. Don't do this.
I think that I need the metal bikini so I can go to like a Comic-Con and I just wear that. And I can't wear underwear with it because there's no underwear in space, if I remember correctly what George Lucas told Princess Leia.
Oh, is that something that happened?
Yeah, that's literally what happened. They gaffer taped her boobs so they wouldn't bounce in her eyeballs while they were filming one. Now, a story that me and Chris has talked about for the last year came to a conclusion this past week. The actor Alec Baldwin has been dismissed of all manslaughter charges of killing the well, I don't want to say it wrong. Was it the special effects lady? Yeah, photographer. Yeah, cinematographer. The proceedings have been dismissed due to crucial evidence that was hidden by the prosecution team that they didn't give to the other. Sounds like a movie almost. Like the prosecution team didn't give the other team the evidence.
I guarantee you, Alec Baldwin is already negotiating away the rights to this story.
Yeah, he's such a bad person.
I can't imagine like who's gonna buy Rust after it's done. Someone will, but like how are you gonna feel watching Rust?
Dude, they released The Crow. You actually watch Brandon Lee half die on screen. We're gonna pretend that somehow there's ethics involved in any of this now.
Fair enough.
Right. By any means, I 100% agree. I mean, it's not like there's a big. Oh, you can't see it.
There's 18 different streaming services desperate for content. Someone will throw a couple of $1 million at them to exhibit it.
Yeah. I 100% agree with your theory on that. Bette Midler has told the studios, hey, you better get hurrying on Hocus Pocus 3 because us bitches are going to be dead soon. I love someone that's honest.
Yeah, but they'll wait till after they're dead and do it digitally. That's the trend these days, right?
Is that in there?
No, last but not least, we are going to be getting a bunch of Star Trek prequel movies set largely on Earth and the creation of the Federation of Planets. And at the same time, Star Trek 4 with the Chris Pine characters are also in the works as well. Are you guys tired of Star Trek at this point? Is Paramount like pushing this because this is like one of their only major breadwinners at this point? Or is it, are you dead with the Star Wars, the Star Trek? Like, where are we at in this world?
Paramount, you're right. Paramount desperately needs some kind of recognizable IP. All they've got is Star Trek, and they've pissed away a giant chunk of that fan base over the last 5 years.
Right.
And so going back, hey, this is about the formation of the Federation of Planets. Oh, you mean Star Trek Enterprise? We're rehashing that? Not what we're doing here? Of all the fandoms to try and like, there's two fandoms that you really shouldn't mess with when it comes to, okay, we're doing a prequel. You're dealing with fans that know this stuff backwards and forwards. So when you screw with it, it doesn't go over well. So I don't know how that's going to go. It's an area that I think you could explore, but at this point, do they have any goodwill? I mean, the other one is Star Wars, and you just turned Darth Plagueis into Gollum. Good job with that. Like, what are we? Yeah, you're not gonna find a whole lot of winners here. Even the big budget films, like the Chris Pine era of Star Trek movies, have had nothing but diminishing returns. In no small part because you all decided to engage in blatant false advertising. We're totally not doing the Wrath of Khan, guys. Benedict Cumberbatch isn't Khan. What kind of silliness would that be? Oh, no, wait.
He totally is.
That was so weird. I mean, I like Benedict Cumberbatch, and I like freaking Zachary Quinn. I liked him back when he was in Heroes and stuff like that. You know, I loved his villain more, and I like Spock. But I just like it was just like, what the hell? Like, I was like, what's going on here? Like, I felt so weird. Like, I felt like someone touched me in a no-no spot, and I should tell my priest, but I think it was my priest that did it.
See, the only thing I remember about that movie is I had food poisoning in the middle of it at the theater. So I got sick in that. Yeah. And
that's what happens, dude. You can't eat at Hooters and order stuff rare. I mean, that's your problem, bro.
Is that the last news story?
That's the news, guys. Let's get on to the last movie. That was The Movies Don't Suck and Some of the News. 3 nerdy baldy guys all talked about cool stuff that we knew at one point.
All right, let's talk Longlegs, directed by Osgood Perkins. A lot done acting, but he's directed such things as Gretel and Hansel, which I think you and I talked about that when it came out. And
just watch The Witch. If you're thinking about watching Gretel and Hansel, just watch The Witch. It's better.
I love The Witch.
He literally has Black Phillip tattooed on it. Yeah, I knew he was going to do it as soon as you said it. As soon as you said it, he's got to show his tattoo. You can't see it. It's kind of distorted. You just send them pictures of you like with that as you're laying on that blanket of you naked on the pizza or the. Okay.
This stars Maika Monroe as Agent Lee Harker.
There's this guy that lives across the street.
Nicolas Cage has Longlegs.
They're not real.
Blair Underwood is Agent Carter.
Baby girl, there's a whole lot going on here you just don't understand.
Alicia Witt as Ruth Harker.
I am a messenger from...
It also stars Michelle Choi Lee as Agent Browning, Dakota Delva as Agent Fisk, and Karen Shipka as Carrie Ann Camera. Neil, what's going to be the storyline for Longlegs?
FBI agent Lee Harker is gifted new recruit assigned to be the unsolved case of an elusive serial killer. As the case takes complex turns, unearthing evidence of the occult, Harker discovers a personal connection to the merciless killer and must race against time to stop him before he claims the life of another innocent family.
So there was a lot of hype around this movie. They were doing all kinds of weird like guerrilla marketing where they would
they did like what was all the marketing? I think I had some of the in the facts I actually came up together, but maybe I didn't.
If you want to say nothing else positive about this movie, and there's other positive things to say, but at a bare minimum, this thing had the best marketing campaign of any movie in like 5 years.
Yeah, and
I don't know. Cocaine Bear had that game.
If Cocaine Bear had that game, it would have done well.
So Longlegs, I knew there's a bunch of hype in it. So knowing the bunch of hype, I went ahead and lowered my expectations when I saw this, and I came out and it fucking blew me away. I love Longlegs. Absolutely love this movie.
That's it. That's all. You just loved it.
I want you guys to
insight on it. Any actors? Yeah, nothing. Yeah, I liked it. That you wouldn't. I'll see you guys later. without my annoying personality, I swear sometimes that your podcast would last 5 minutes and it'd just be like,
no, that'd be someone else here. But
that'd be the end of it.
So this movie had nothing but unsettling vibes throughout the whole thing. I thought that Nicolas Cage did the fucking crazy ass performance. Like I didn't recognize him. That was great. I love the fact that he was covered in so much. I don't think if someone told me that was someone told me Nicolas Cage was in it, I don't know if I would have known that he was.
I didn't know he was in it. I didn't know. I'm going to be 100%. I did not watch one trailer. I did not watch anything leading up to this. You said Longlegs, and I literally thought I was going to go see a movie about spiders. Like I had no idea what I was walking into here. And I love that I didn't. And I love that. Like, because it's very hard for being someone that goes to the movie theater once, twice a week that sees, how many minutes of trailers were right before this movie for me? 37 minutes. 37 minutes of trailers before, like, I got there at 11:30. It didn't start to 12:07. But so it's very rare for me not to see like something about something. Like I've been dodging everything Deadpool and Wolverine, so as much as that can be a surprise to me, and that's getting shoved down my throat every time I just turn on YouTube. But this movie just had. I understand why people are comparing it to Seven and Silence of the Lambs and stuff like that because of cops going against creepy killer kind of creepiness going on and stuff like that. I usually don't like a lot of slow burn movies.
Right.
Like I'm more of like into an action, but I really think they did the slow burn really well in this one. And like the cinematography of this movie, like she'll be like at a desk looking at a piece of paper, but in the frame, they'll make this empty doorway that's shadowy, like right in the background, where you think like a jump scare is going to come, or like someone's going to be like that killer going to be creeping in the back, like Michael Myers or Jason. Like the way he did the cinematography of this was like, I'm only going to say this because his dad was in the most popular movie this guy ever did. But it was kind of Hitchcock-ish, where it was like the suggestion of something was more than the something that was actually happening.
And there's a lot. That's a lot of this movie, just suggestion. And then, of course, in the last act, it changes. But I really enjoy the muted colors in this. I really enjoyed the acting in it. Possibly, I mean, Maika, but it's all about Nick Cage and how fucking crazy he was. Like, that's a fucking fantastic role he did. He was so fucking creepy. like I've had people text me, like, "Have you seen Longlegs?" I'm like, "Not yet," and they're like, "Just no, Nicolas Cage is creepy as fucking he is." I mean,
there he is. Like,
don't
oh
do
my
it,
god, look, like, oh, I didn't even know.
What the fuck are you doing?
What? Why are you upset? What?
All right.
Like, dude, they won. Do you understand? This movie only cost $10 million to make. These guys have already made over 4 times what they freaking like. Don't worry. If they want to make Longlegs Part 2, 3, 4, 5, the miniseries, the prequels, the cartoon series, have the collector's cup given out at McDonald's, like literally, they got it at this point. They got nothing to worry about for the rest. I
didn't want you to show it to anyone else. I wanted people going this and not know what they look like. But okay, you did.
Oh, hey, 27 people that are watching. Sorry that I ruined it for you. Like, come on.
Robert, what's your thoughts on Longlegs?
So, gun to my head, my favorite movie of all time is actually Silence of the Lambs.
Oh, I watch it all the time, man. It's literally my queue.
So, this movie invites that comparison very... people aren't making that comparison out of nothing. It invites it. Unfortunately, inviting comparisons to movies that you are not as good as is always a bit of a tricky thing. I don't mean this as a disparaging comment to Longlegs to say it's not as good as Silence of the Lambs, because that's one of the best movies ever made.
Yeah.
Period.
I mean, that's like saying you can't. It's like comparing like it in the wrestling world, like always comparing someone to Hulk Hogan or Stone Cold Steve Austin when someone's nowhere even near that level.
This is not that. There's a lot of good stuff here. You mentioned there's some very strong directing choices. There's a lot of very still shots. The camera doesn't move a whole lot in this movie.
Yeah.
It'll cut, but it doesn't follow. It doesn't track. It doesn't pan a whole lot. It's very... You'll get depth of field stuff, but you don't get a lot of swinging of the camera. You get a lot of very static stuff where you're meant to sit, watch, pay attention, see stuff in the background. I mean, the opening scene from this movie, before the title card rolls, is actually just an incredible short film. Basically, is what it is, and it's the most effective part of the whole movie, I think. There's some really good use of music. It's a little bit...
Yeah, I agree with that. The use of music in this movie actually gave it a lot of feeling.
Yeah, it's a little... It's all new music, but when I say it's a little cliched, it's like, oh, of course we're going to get the high strings. It's very within the horror music box, which is not always a bad thing, but I just have to say that as a point of... It exists.
Yeah.
There's some really creepy imagery. Perkins has a very good eye for creepy imagery. I don't know if this is his... I go back and forth between this and you mentioned he did Gretel and Hansel, which I don't think is his strongest work.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would go this or the Black Coat's Daughter. If you liked Longlegs and you want something similar, Black Coat's Daughter would be the other one I'd recommend because that's also his. This one...
Now, wait. Not as his acting career as Dorky Dave in Legally Blonde.
No. I don't recommend Legally Blonde as anything other than a method for enhanced interrogation.
They use it in the Bay, I swear. All right.
They might have. PTSD from Reese Witherspoon shows up every time. No.
You got a baby in a bar? Anyway.
So that's Sweet Home Alabama, not Legally Blonde.
Whatever.
I appreciate the whatever, but they're not actually the same film.
I know.
So if I had, so a few of my criticisms, this movie, the plot meanders, and it's a bit of a problem. There's not a lot of, so again, because we're comparing this to something like Seven or Silence or Zodiac even, because clearly this is where inspiration is being drawn from.
Right.
Those movies, especially Silence and Seven, had an element of ticking clock.
Right.
Like why? And you were never allowed to forget that the clock is running here and time matters. John Doe is trying to find, the 7 people that he's gonna use to paint his masterpiece. Right. Buffalo Bill has kidnapped a senator's daughter, and you've got a couple of days before she's dead. These are things that are constantly, they're here. This movie does not do a good job at giving you that sense of pressure and timing. It's very creepy, and as you mentioned, like the atmosphere that this thing creates is incredible for the vast majority of it. But that sense of inevitability, the sand running out of the hourglass, that's absent, and I think it's an important component of these kinds of stories that was missing. If I'm talking about things that didn't quite work for me, that's one. The acting is very good to great. We not only have both Maika Johnson and Nicolas Cage do a great job, and frickin' Blair, man, give that guy more work. He has one of the most difficult jobs in this movie. He's the normal guy. Being the normal guy in a borderline surrealistic film is a very difficult thing to do. You're either way off kilter or you ground everything. And if you've watched, Refn films and Refn projects, and boy have I, you'll know that the guy trying to be normal can send things off the rails. Blair Underwood keeps it on the rails. He grounds things, and it's very, very useful. If there's another big miss for me, I'm not going to say big miss, but there's a twist. It's not the worst twist in the world.
Every time I always think of
I appreciate it.
Yeah, the robot chicken. Anyway.
It's not the worst twist for these kinds of movies. It doesn't quite land because some of the stakes around it have not been properly established, again, on the writing side of things. So that, and then
he said the twist of the movie. Chris was gone for a second if you didn't know.
Okay.
I'm guessing technical difficulty. He said the twist of the movie was, we're not trying to spoil it or anything like it. It didn't hit like one thing I do have to jump in here for a second because I have to go back to what you said earlier about the urgency. Yeah, I 100% agree with you. Like they just it's kind of background. It was kind of like, hey, by this date. But they don't like if they showed you like a calendar and like said they're on the 11th and just like one time or like then they're on the 12th like the next day. If they just did some kind of reference to what the day was and what the urgency was, I think that really would have added a lot to this movie because I agree with you that movies like Silence of the Lambs and Seven that this movie has been being compared to a lot did have that. It has like an urgency that like if they don't find the senator's daughter, she's dead. And everybody's going to be fired and nobody loves the world and the world's going to explode. Seven, it just feels like everybody can die at any moment and stuff like that. And so I agree with that motion a lot. I think that's one of the things that does take away from this movie.
Yeah, again, so the acting is very good. Some of the characterization is not the best. And I think that's another that's a weakness of the writing more than anything else. We have good performances. I don't need more from Nicolas Cage than what I got. I don't need to know more about that character because that kind of character doesn't need it. By contrast, our lead, it's kind of important that I know and care about her. And I'm fine with her being socially awkward. That's actually, again, that's fine. But the relationship with her mother doesn't get fleshed out until later, and by the time it's fleshed out related to other things, and it doesn't quite line up. It doesn't quite hit.
Right.
And so that's a bit of a problem. I wanted to love the ending sequence. If you've seen the movie, you'll know what I'm talking about. I wanted to love that, and I didn't. And I don't know if it's... there's a tone and an atmosphere that they're trying to go for there, for that kind of a scene. I'm using vague language here. But if you've seen it, you'll know what I'm talking about. And there's just something off about the atmosphere and the mood for that kind of a scene, for what they're trying to do. I don't know if there's a musical choice they could have made differently that would have helped. I'm fairly certain there is. There's a line delivered by Blair Underwood that strays a little bit too close to comedy. It's meant to be terrifying. It's a little too close to jokey. And I don't know if you can even save that line. I know what they're trying to do with that. It just doesn't quite hit the way it's supposed to.
Yeah. Instead of like trying to hit the home run, it hit like maybe a double. You know, like
and
it kind of gives a feeling, but it's kind of like you didn't make it all the way, bro.
And there's a big question around the character of Harker. Harper, sorry, not Harker. Wait, that is Harker. Yeah,
it's Harker.
We're aping Dracula here. Okay, yeah, Harker. There's a big question about why she does what she does when she does it, if you think about it. If she has the ability to take the actions that she does right before the very end, not doing it sooner is a really big, like, why? What's going on there? You kind of... So there's a little bit there that just doesn't quite add up. And the actual investigative part of this movie, of this story, is not all that strong. The eeriness is great. There's a bunch of great individual scenes. Again, Johnson does a great job. Cage does. There's not a bad acting job to be found here. They're all very good.
Yeah, the acting jobs were not called in on this one.
No, it's the story. Perkins does a lot that, in general, I can say this about most of his work to this point, because I've seen almost all of it. He gets by on atmosphere and kind of vibes instead of an actually well-constructed story. He tries to let theme carry
like Christopher
detail.
Nolan. Yeah, he just does atmosphere, has no good stories or anything like that.
Well, no, they're okay, but he substitutes theme for substance in a lot of instances, which is just kind of a choice. Like if you don't want to hammer out specific details, having a strong theme and a strong atmosphere will help with that. And his stuff does, to his credit, it does smooth over a lot of those rough patches. But a lot of the detail of his film doesn't hold up to scrutiny. The detail of his story doesn't always hold up. It's hard for me also when a filmmaker peaks very early, because the first thing he did was Blackcoat's Daughter, which I think is probably still his most sound overall film. This one is probably going to be better known. It's certainly a much bigger hit.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and here's a question. Here's a question I have for you to jump in here. Do you think this is going to be his plateau? This is kind of where he's at, or do you think that there's going to be a movie that he puts out later that is going to be better than what Longlegs is? Because do you think this is him trying to figure out the kinks of his directing? Because again, he's only directed 5 things.
Yeah,
and one episode of Twilight Zone. I mean, that took like a week to film. So the rest of it, however long that took. But do you think this is the way he's working out the kinks? Is this when they made when they make Evil Dead, and then Evil Dead 2 came out, and Evil Dead 2 was the far better because they figured out everything they fucked up in Evil Dead.
Well, it helps that you had a real budget too, in the case of the Evil Dead franchise. I think he is capable of doing better than this. Let me preface this with that. I think what's going to limit him is if he sticks with trying to do the auteur thing. If he gets with a good writing partner or finds better scripts, that's going to carry a lot more work to elevate what he's doing. Because at the moment he's doing a lot of the I write, I direct, I edit, I have final say kind of stuff. And the number of good auteur filmmakers like that is actually very small. It's a very romantic theory of filmmaking. And then if you talk with anyone who's worked with the people who work like that, most of it's not very good. The best iterations of it come from Kubrick, who was just so painstaking that, okay, we're going to get there. I'm going to make you walk. I'm going to drive Harvey Keitel off of my set because I made him walk through the revolving door of a building 127 times. And he said, "You're disrespecting me and my time. I'm out." Which is a true story from the set of Eyes Wide Shut. Gary Oldman's recitation of that is very good. But if you're going to be that exacting, you can maybe get there, but you also wind up working with a lot of people who don't want to work with you all that much after the fact. Kubrick didn't have a lot of collaborators in front of the camera. Or you just wind up with self-indulgent, you wind up in a situation where no one's telling you no. You get Kevin Costner deciding, I'm going to spend how many hundreds of millions of dollars filming a 4-hour epic that's going to blow up on the launch pad? Or you get Martin Scorsese.
All those movies have been canceled now. None of them are going to the theater. Horizon 2 and 3 are no longer going to theater because of how bad Horizon is done.
Or you get Martin Scorsese bending the fabric of space-time, creating The Irishman, which I think is still ongoing.
God, that's crazy.
Oh my God. I feel like it's never going to end.
It doesn't end. Like I was watching, because I watched his other movie. I watched
Killer of the Flower Moon.
Killer of the Flower Moon. I watched that, and I'm pretty sure I was simultaneously still watching The Irishman. It was still running.
So I'm going to disagree with you on the
Chris. Yeah. Chris, jump in there. Give us your fur take. You kind of took off for a second. Let's hear you. Let's wrap it up.
So I disagree with the fact that the ending. I think it was meant to be. I thought it was meant to be ambiguous as it was. It's not anything I said, but I obviously read about this movie afterwards, and Osgood Perkins did a actual Nick Cage interviewed him in Fangoria. So
nice.
I read that last night after I got home from the movie, that interview. Osgood Perkins, I thought there was a lot of clever things in this movie. It had me transfixed, this whole thing. At no point was I bored or just like wandering off. I agree with you with the fact that it does meander a bit, but I could have spent another 2 hours in that world that he created, that bleakness, that like you said, a whole lot of atmosphere. It made a whole lot of story. I also think that was a choice, the atmosphere part of it.
It is, and he does a lot of bleak movies. If you want to take a trip into the bleak land, Oz Perkins films will take you there, and I say that as a compliment.
Yeah,
good bleak films are hard to find.
Yeah, and this has all of it. When it comes to, because like you said, inevitably can be compared to Silence of the Lambs, one of the best movies ever made, right? It's not as good as that, but then I think we're looking at it the wrong way. Because Longlegs, well, it's compared to that. I don't think it was even meant to be close to that, and so a lot of people have the problem with it. It feels like a procedural, and I think they're looking for procedural when that also wasn't the case either. Like,
honestly, if anything, this could have used a little more procedure, like a little more structure to it in that respect. But anyone complaining that this gets bogged down in the procedural elements has never actually watched either a very good procedural or knows anything about these kind of things, because if you think this is too procedural, I'm going to recommend a slightly more experimental cosmic horror film for y'all to go watch. It's on Amazon Prime, I believe. It's called The Void. And that will do all the weirdness of this without any of the structure with any of the real world grounding in that respect. So if that's more what you're after, go watch that. I have horror recommendations.
Yeah, I got some horror recommendations. Like, go watch all 3 of The Feast, because there's nothing better than a husband making it up to a wife when she gets skull fucked to death in the first movie to make her the leader of the good guys in the second film that she came back from the dead. It's a great story. Like, I'm hung out with them this weekend. Great couple. They're awesome. Good horror B movie. Anyway, Chris, it's that time of the day, man. We got to wrap this up. Okay. So Yeah, let's do it. Robert, since you're a guest on this one, we're going to let you go first. Robert, out of 5, what is your rating on Longlegs?
4.2. This is strong. It's a good movie.
I'm going to fall asleep to this movie when it comes out on streaming. This is a movie I'm going to like how I do Silence of the Lambs, 7, and Kiss the Girls are like some of the movies I watch going to sleep because it's like that theatrical, that very kind of slow burn at the beginning of all the films, and it's not blowy uppy and stuff like that. I think it's the music too. Like that literally behind those movies that just put me to sleep like right away. And I think that's kind of weird that all horror movies are what I usually watch when I go to sleep too. But it is what it is. So I agree with that.
So 4.2, definitely high good. Not a classic. It's not what, if you watched a lot of the hype develop, it's not that. I don't think it's not going to hit those lofty goals. So temper your expectations a little bit related to that, but this is still very good. It's still definitely worth a watch if you like horror movies.
Yeah. My score in this is 4.4. I liked it quite a bit. I had something to say and it lost me. But Longlegs is a very good movie. I was actually going in with low expectations, so I thought the hype would I tried to ignore the hype, and it's like you said, there are people that say the best movie of the year. When it comes to this year, there are 2 really good horror movies. This one is, so when I talk to people about movies this year, I'll ask 2 questions. Have you seen Longlegs, and have you seen Late Night with the Devil? Because Late Night with the Devil is, to this day, probably to the top of my list for favorite movie I've seen this year. And Longlegs is right behind it on at least horror films I've seen this year. And I'm very excited for what comes up next from Osgood Perkins. Neil, what's your score?
I like it when we get to meet like filmmakers that, of course we've seen them and Gretel and Hansel and whatever and stuff like that in The Black Daughter. But I'm glad that we're getting a new director, new filmmaker that we're going to be able to talk about, because I'm kind of getting tired of the same old guy. So I'm glad that we're getting some new blood in the world. Chris, you said 4.4. You said 4.2. I think I'm right between you guys. I think I'm at that 4.3 because the only reason I love this, I thought it was a really good burn and stuff like that, but there are some major factors, just like Robert stated earlier, that did kind of hit me weird and kind of like, I wish I could have known a little bit of that information. Why is there a naked guy behind you?
He's not naked. That's my brother.
Oh, he had a shirt on that matches.
he just got a shirt on that's very close to his skin.
I was like, why is this a random naked guy walking behind you? We're
to
gonna
be fair, a random naked person walking through the back of the frame is very on brand for Longlegs.
But I think this is one of those movies that, if I went to a friend's house and they had it on, they're like, we're watching this for the first time, I wouldn't leave the door right away. I'd probably sit around for a little bit and see if I actually wanted to watch it again. So it's like, and that's one of my things that holds to me when I review a movie is, can I watch this movie again and enjoy it like I did the first time I enjoyed it, or can I get something different from it each time? I can in this movie. Obviously, this is going to be a movie that I'll probably be watching. I'm pretty sure as soon as this comes out, I'll introduce this to my wife right away, because I went to the theater to see this and she doesn't like going to the theater. So, but yeah.
All right, Neil, I'm on RottenTomatoes.com. What's the audience score for Longlegs?
I'm going to say that they gave it a 82%.
64%. People are calling this
what the
movie.
Fuck?
Yeah.
I'm way off this week.
I got crazy and read some of the audience reviews, and people were saying that's the worst movie they've ever seen. They walked out of it, and some people were saying worst movie ever made. Which, what the fuck have you been watching? If that's the worst movie.
Well, in fairness, because we're talking the audience score, right?
Yeah. We're talking audience.
So audience if you track the audience scores tend to just be, did I like it, without a lot of deep critical thought about it. And in fairness to the general audience, Perkins makes weird films that are not going to be polarizing. It's rare that you hear anyone talk about his stuff that is kind of in the middle of the road. It's either really good or you really don't like it, and whatnot. That I understand people being a little bit weird about.
Okay.
The one thing I got to say about this, guys. Okay, so I just looked online. I didn't see this, but the rotation of the photo thing on IMDb brought this photo up. Nicolas Cage with the actress that plays in the story. The picture they took together on the red carpet of the premiere looks like creepy grandpa with like the 18-year-old party girl or just turned 21 party girl that went on. Look at this photo. Like literally, it is like they're barely trying to touch each other. She's trying to look sexual, and it's like, is this the girl that Conway Twitty was talking about when you've never gone that far before? No, okay. That's what it kind of looks like. It looks like he's Conway Twitty, and she's the 16-year-old.
Didn't expect a Conway Twitty reference of all the things.
I know. I'm on Rotten Tomatoes still. What is the critic score for Longlegs?
The critics are gonna fucking love this. This is like a critic blowjob party. I'm gonna say 89%.
You're 86%, so not quite. But
okay, yep.
A really good review and a bad review. Here's a bad review. This is from, I want to find the one that's 0%. This is Jim Shimby. He says, all cream and no pie, 1 out of 5. Yeah.
One, I don't know why you're deciding to go with that metaphor here, buddy. And two, no, if anything, I would actually argue this maybe is a little bit the opposite. We actually could have used a bit more confectionery on top of the atmosphere.
Yeah. And this is from Doug Jameson, the Jen Report. He says, it's chilling away that crawls near our skin, courtesy of Osgood Perkins' masterful blend of the supernatural and psychological horror, and one genuinely frightening performance from Nicolas Cage. Is a 4.5 out of 5. If you go through these, there's a bunch of 5 ones that were the ones that they put out. They're like, hey, this is the ones that we wanted you to pay attention to. Screened a couple earlier this month. Yeah, I saw these people that knew would love this and blew it up. But I really liked Longlegs, and it's partially because I went in hoping the hype was wrong. It wasn't. It's a pretty good movie, and I don't know this will probably stick with me. And my scores are never the same by the end of the year. Sometimes we change in my mind on this one, so I don't know if we'll be talking about it in the year, but we might, and I will see what happens when I do my top 10 sometime late December. I think we're good on this one. You guys can see this.
Yeah, I actually just got a direct message from a lawyer. I'm going to be able to sue Maxwell Jacob Freeman for stealing my personal property yesterday, using it during a match. So I think I need to get done here and talk to this lawyer.
All right, you guys can find us online at net. We're at WTM.com. So number 2 is the movies net, and we're also on Instagram at DS Podcast, on X and DS Podcast. You guys want to buy a shirt with our face on it or our name on it? Go to bonfire.com, so choose out seconds to do.
Not just Bonfire, we also are at tpublic.com too, which is / Blackwood Productions, because I didn't know what to put an ender. But we have a bunch of shirts there as well.
We're on Patreon. Go to patreon.com/newsonsuck. You can get a value email, and then we have a few subscribers. And then anywhere you find podcasts from movies and suck and something to do. Oh yeah, if you're on YouTube and subscribe or Facebook and all like that shit, I don't care. But yeah. Rob, you want to give your deets again?
Yeah, sure. You can find me covering mixed martial arts and professional wrestling over at 411mania.com. WWE SmackDown on Friday, UFC events every Saturday. Occasionally pinch hitting elsewhere, so you might see my byline over there on occasion on different things. Again, come drag me in the comments section because that's kind of what it's there for. I host Damn You Hollywood, which is most Mondays. We talk about one big movie that came out over the last week. We give it a deep dive, craft-wise. We talk about the business of movies. So we talk about how the box office has been going for the year, and Mark is finally happy because something actually did well financially, and we can talk him down off the ledge. And there was not one this most recent Monday. We will be doing Twisters on this coming Monday, so tune in for that if you're interested in listening to. You guys have had Mark on before. If you like Mark, he and I always have a good time, and we'll be talking Twisters. I may or may not be pinch hitting in about 40 minutes for another podcast that's an on trial for the original Twister movie. So I'm on deck for that in case one of the participants doesn't show up. So tune in if you're listening to me live and want to hear more of this. I might be over there for an on trial for the Bill Paxton. They put Bill Paxton and Philip Seymour Hoffman on the same screen at the same time nowadays. It just makes me cry.
Yeah. It's sad.
But so I might be over there. We'll see. If not, if you just want to hear Mark and I think Ronnie is scheduled, talk about Twister, that 90s classic disaster flick, go check that out. You don't need to listen to me talk. You can listen to other people talk if it's on a subject that you're interested in. So I think that's it for my recent plug. So thank y'all for having me.
No problem.
Anytime, guy.
Neil, what your small businesses?
Small businesses, if you got a small business, let us know. Just send us an email message, direct message. Follow Chris to his home over at 2764.
That's not my address, but I don't want to give it out.
Shawnee mentioned. Anyway, just let us know. We'll be more than happy to advertise your business right here to our thousands of listeners, our millions of followers right here at Movies That Don't Suck and Some to Do.
Are you guys ready to get here? Let's do this.
Yeah, let's do this. Well, that's another episode of Movies That Don't Suck and Some to Do. My name's Neil.
And I'm Chris, and
I'm Robert.
We had a good time talking about love, death, and the things that all come between. But remember, guys, when it comes to all three, love is the other one that only makes the other two exist. Have a good day.